What's up, wrestling fans? It's the Emerald Enthusiast, the co-host of the Way Back Wrestling Mania podcast. Here with an unboxing and short review of the Mattel Elite Series 80 action figures of Erik and Ivar, the Viking Raiders. Let's have a quick look at the packaging. It says Series 80. This is the first time in the line for either one of these wrestlers. I like how each one of the figures is in a similar pose, so they look good side by side. Here's a look at the back of the packages. Each one has biographical information, as well as headshots of the other wrestlers who have figures in this wave. Here's a close-up of those brief bios of Erik and Ivar. If you'd like to read either one of these, please pause the video and do so now. And now it's time to bust these figures out of the packages and see what's inside. And here we see Erik and Ivar out of the package and ready to rumble. Let's take a look at Ivar's details. Here's a look at the boots. There's good sculpting on those. As you would expect, the headgear is removable. There is some really stellar paint work here. There's also lots of different textures. It looks like they got the body mold right. I think that's accurate. The attire looks pliable enough to allow for decent articulation. And of course, this piece of shoulder armor comes off. And it just unfastens back here. And I got that off easily. I'm really impressed that it's sculpted to look like segmented pieces. And looking at the likeness here, I can definitely tell that this is Ivar. I really appreciate the work on the beard. Of course, it does hamper the articulation a little bit, and I'll get into that more later. But yeah, I like the expression here as well as the paint application on the face. Here's a look at the back, the trapezius and the lats. And this gauntlet is detachable. You can pull it off easily. And I think that Mattel hit the mark with Ivar's likeness. Now we'll have a look at Erik. And the head portion of his attire is also detachable. There's lots of good sculpting on that. I think he's a little on the small side. Now he also has this shoulder armor. And that unfastens in the back here. And it lifts off easily. I think he's a little on the small side. The body mold looks just a little too small. Although, wow, look at all of this paint application here. He has a lot of tattooing and it's very intricate. And Mattel did a good job capturing that. I think the quadriceps in particular are a little too small. There is some good sculpting work on the back. And once again, I can definitely see the likeness. So I think that overall Mattel did a pretty good job here, even if there could have been some improvements in some areas. Let's have a look at articulation now. And the ankles on both of these figures are very tight. Now I can get them to swivel back and forth at the top of the boot. There's double jointed knees, as you can see here. The figure has this quadriceps swivel. He can kick forward that far. Unfortunately, he doesn't step back, although you can get him into nearly a split, so I'm impressed with that. There is pivoting at the waist, crunching at the upper torso. The arms go out that far. They do a 360. He has the bicep swivel. There's rotation at the wrists and single-jointed elbows. Now, the articulation at the neck joint is hampered somewhat by the beard, as you would expect, but overall, that's pretty good articulation. Now let's have a look at Ivar. Likewise, he has a hinge at the ankles. This one is very tight. He does have some pivoting. This knee pad is a separate piece, and you can move it down to articulate the double jointed knees. His legs lift out to the sides this far, so once again, that's impressive. He can kick that far forward. There is the quadricep swivel once again. There's pivoting at the waist. The upper torso crunches backward and forward. Just like with his tag team partner, the beard hampers the head articulation, as you can see here. It does move side to side pretty well. There's rotation at the wrists, single jointed elbows, bicep swivel, as you can see here. You can get the arms to go out this far, and the arms do a 360. So there's a look at the articulation on the Viking Raiders. Here's a look at the alternate set of hands on both figures. And as you can see, there is so much intricate paintwork here on Erik's hands. We'll take a closer look at those in just a second. With Ivar, he has an alternate set of gripping hands. They're very basic. I'm going to display him with these hands. These seem to characterize the gimmick better. Here's a close-up of Erik's hands, and I am always impressed when I see areas that are this small that nonetheless have this level of detail. When it comes to tattooing details, I have yet to see any poor work from Mattel on their Elite figures. I certainly hope you have enjoyed this review. If so, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for some articulation shots, and also remember to catch me on the Way Back Wrestling Mania podcast, which is available right here on YouTube. And I'll be back with more pro wrestling related content soon. But until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching.